He sprang onto the scene in the early 80s with his outrageous clothes and his rather garish makeup and started a whole new trend. Even his songs made it onto the charts. Then he had a brush with drugs and was written off by a lot of people on the rock music scene. But Boy George refuses to give up. A new look Boy George has just arrived in Australia for a brief tour, and he spoke with Penny Bly.
I'm basically, I think, an exhibitionist, but not in the way that I want sort of people to sort of stare at me. Like, I don't want to walk down the street and get everyone looking at me. Maybe I did when I was 16, but it had a different appeal then. But I still get a bug to do that. I still sometimes, like, I mean, I go through phases where I look like everybody else, you know, I go unnoticed and then I suddenly think, right, I had enough of that.
I'm not your average street boy. I'm not your rebel guy.
Boy George just can't resist being different from the rest, and that part of him hasn't really changed since he captured the world's imagination as the flamboyant lead singer with Culture Club. But a lot of other things have changed following his last hysterical visit to Australia.
I feel like a bit more in control than the last time I came here. So the last time I came here, it was too hysterical. You know, it was just one of those sort of... I didn't see anything. All I saw was hotel rooms, and I remember downstairs, like, looking at people through the wire like monkeys. So it was a bit sort of... it was really uncivilised.
Many would say so was his demise. Since the collapse of Culture Club, Boy George became a heroin addict, was arrested and charged, saw the death of 2 close friends, and the Fleet Street tabloids showed no mercy. But then, Boy George was always a favourite target for sensational headlines. But unlike other targets, like Elton John, Boy George just can't be bothered suing them.
I don't want to give them my time. I don't want to give them, you know, they can't have me. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to go into court. I don't want the £1 million. But when you're young and impressionable, you know, you think being in the paper is proof that you're good. And I think that you kind of, you know, you always want to see how big the picture is.
They do.
You know, you never really read what they print. You just think, oh, how big's the picture?
I just wanna hold you tight.
While Boy George has a sense of humour about it, the bad press did give his image a pounding. And he doesn't have such a huge following these days. But he still has some extremely loyal fans.
Yeah, I have. And some of them are quite nutty. I mean, there's some kids that have... I mean, I've brought a present for one of my fans' mothers from Australia. She came to live in London 3 years ago and hasn't gone back. I mean, it's very difficult because the hardcore fans, you know, are the ones that they'll, like, give up their jobs and come and work as chambermaids in London. And it's, for me, it's very heavy because sometimes, I mean, a few weeks ago I had to tell them all to leave because they would just sit there. So they sit outside my house all the time, and I find that very odd.
Everybody makes mistakes. Don't you know that it's okay? I still love you so. I just can't let you go.
That's the good thing about being Boy George, is that I get immediate responses from everybody. Like, you know, because people basically know a lot about me, so it's like they either hate me or they like me. I think the one thing about sort of getting older is that you realise that you're not really missing anything. You know, like a lot, when you're sort of 20, you think, oh, I better go out every night in case something happens and I'm not part of it. That's one of the things that I mean, that's very much me, because I'm a Gemini. I want to know what's going on everywhere, in every room.
So Boy George has slowed down a bit?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. But I mean, I'd hate people to think I'd become really boring, because I haven't at all. But I mean, I'm just a bit sort of more, I don't know, yeah, try to do things a bit slower.
You feel